Hi everyone, welcome back to Teams with Hugo. Today we are kicking off the last 4 videos of the series Building Teams That Last. And it's quite a special topic. Today we're going to talk about flow and quality standards. And the two of them are tied up together in a single video because they feed each other. It's about reaching a state of flow in a team that drives performance and hopefully brings up a higher quality output. But what is flow and why does it matter? Flow is a bit of a newer term for team leaders and even for team members. It's a bit hidden, not spoken, and is hard to control and influence. But it's something that, make no mistake, can influence a team and how long it performs and how much it brings out. To talk about flow, we need to go into a different kind of perspectives. One of the perspectives is about what creates flow and what is conscious or unconscious. In the past, I did put some practices in place and behaviors that would help a team to reach a state of flow. They were unconscious, many of them, such as starting the week by looking at the main priorities ahead, doing daily check-ins, finishing the week with a retrospective on what worked great and what could be even better, and even moments of distraction-free that will allow us to avoid email and not interrupt each other. This was before, of course, the Slack and WhatsApps of this world. But that was actually important moments that helped us reach a state of flow. But they were all unconscious. How it became conscious to me, that was when I joined a startup back in 2012, and it was not such a great experience. In that startup, when I joined, there was not a sense of direction of what problem we were solving very clearly. And as well, there was not like practices that will allow us to get in a state of flow. And consciously, I tried to introduce some of the practices I had from before, but I did not have the authority to set the pace or set up suggestions for the overall organization, for the overall startup. I did have, however, the chance in that 1 year I worked with a startup to have a small marketing team under my leadership. And despite my best intentions to put some practices in place, I realized that flow is not depending on just what you as a practice put set forward. And we could not foresee challenges ahead because the organization was not equipped for it. We could not see what will happen a month ahead or 2 months ahead. And that limited the way of being in a state of flow. We were also bombarded with ad hoc requests, which are always interrupting our way of being and focusing on the things that really matter. And that can make a difference, as I'll talk later on. It's about mastery, but I'll hold up to the end. So talking about that startup was not a great experience, of course, but I'm very grateful that I was able to experience it because it allowed me to see what not to do when scaling up and how not to do things in order to not reach a state of flow. So what did I learn? So for that, we have to go after the conditions that I actually see to create a state of flow for a team. There are 8 conditions that I got to practice at a time and I still implement today in the teams. Those are the 8 conditions. The first one is knowing what to do, which seems very simple. If a team knows what to do and what it tends to achieve, it will be easier to reach a state of flow. Second one is knowing how to do it. Not just what you want to do, but how we're going to reach that state of flow and how we're going to reach the objectives. The third one is knowing how well we are doing it. It's about the milestones, it's about progress, seeing what we are having. The fourth one is knowing where you are headed. So having not just the end vision of how we're going to achieve our outcomes, but also having a sense of accomplishment of like we are reaching closer to our shared vision and mission as shared in another video. The fifth one is having the authority to define the pace of the team. And if the organization does not have the pace that you need to have the authority to set it for a team. The sixth one is being free from distractions. When you want to be on the zone, you need to be free of distractions. You cannot have interruptions. And that also means nowadays to disable notifications on the applications you are using. The seventh is having the foresight of the main challenges ahead. If you can foresee which challenge you might have over a day, over a week, over a month, or over the year, you might be able to tap into the time to solve them and, remove the distraction that might come when you are on the zone. And last but not least, is being able to capture compelling and learning skills quickly. Because sometimes the skills you may have today might not be the ones you need tomorrow. So the learning index is also part of being on the zone. So those 8 conditions, when they are all together, it creates a state of flow that is contagious and can really help out the team. A small analogy in the story I also heard from a surgeon, it is a close friend of mine, part of the family, was that when he is in a tough surgery, he feels that the whole operating team operates like a single organism. Like in a ballet where every individual contribution and performance helps out the group performance. And much similar to other situations, when they are all in synchrony, they feel that they have a sense of harmony and power. And it's the same for the teams. For flow to happen, the role of team leaders is to encourage their teams to discuss what the ideal environment looks like, what practices, systems, and tools they need in place for each individual to reach that state of flow. Personal example of mine, when I want to be on the zone and reach a state of flow that is so intense and contagious, I need to write beforehand on a piece of paper, offline, what I want to do, how I want to achieve it, and how it looks like at the end of it. Then I can normally put some headphones with neutral music, remove all notifications and distractions, and really focus on it. And that leads me to have a high quality output. Now you might be wondering, so what's the difference between, empowering people to have their own, state of flow individually versus a team state of flow? The difference is that when a team experiences flow collectively, it's able to feed off one another's energy. It's able to empower by the fact that everyone is focused, and by seeing that you get the energy to be focused yourself. To the point that if you see a whole team focus, it feels like a harmony and the power that not just of the team but also individually to progress towards your achievements, towards your goals. And that's why it's so important to talk about state of flow and being conscious about what leads you to get there. Well, enough about flow. Let's go into quality standards, and just a small word about it. Because they are connected with the flow of a team. The more flow a team has, the higher the quality of the output. However, quality standards are very perceptive. Like the quality standard that I might have for something might be different from yours. The quality standard of a new hire might be different from the one you have. Maybe it will set the bar higher or lower. And it's very perceptive, so it's hard to define the quality standard of a team by just having a perception, a snapshot of it. The healthy way of seeing quality standards is not by the perceived definitions, but by what you want to choose to master, by the progress towards mastery of yourself and your team. So for example, once you choose what to master, then you can have accountability on the performance of a team, because you know how to keep each other accountable in terms of performance, because you are comparing what people are mastering on their domain and how close they are getting to it. And the closer they are to master, the better the performance will be, and the better will be the quality standard of the team. The same for behavior. The more important behavior is by the state of flow. If you discuss what we need as a team to have this state of flow, to be on the zone, you're going to start being accountable to each other's behaviors to reach that state of flow individually and as a team. So that's why it's important to keep that accountability. And if you want that accountability to be transformed in terms of flow and quality standards, you need to talk about both. Because at the end of the day, you want to lead a team where everyone is giving the best they have to become the best they can be at their most important work. And the more time as a team leader you spend helping your team getting closer to mastering their domain of expertise individually and as a team, and the more time you spend hosting the space where they can have a state of flow, where they can have the practice, the behaviors to be in that state of deep immersion, of focus, the higher will be the quality standard. And that's why it's important to be conscious about quality standards and the state of flow. I hope you really enjoy talking about flow and quality standards. I hope you comment below with your views. Visit teamswithhugo.com for more resources. Subscribe to this channel and also follow me on the different social media channels. Ciao and obrigado.